One of my favorite aspects of Mario games is how quickly they get to the point. These games feature very short intros and get you right to the action. Set action is also often incredibly similar throughout the entire game, in the sense that your goal can be boiled down to play through the course to get the star. Likewise, Mario's moveset remains pretty rigid, only gaining small additions through power-ups, which rewards mastery of the basics throughout the entire game. This simplistic progression makes these games incredibly fun to replay, and very easy to drop into. They're just a constant stream of platforming fun which you can't possibly go wrong with. With that in mind, and after replaying Galaxy 2 for the first time in a decade, makes green stars stand out. There's not really any direct equivalent to them in any Mario game before or after this one, which makes them a very interesting mechanic within the franchise, and gives Galaxy 2 a sort of endgame. In case you haven't played Galaxy 2, or just need a refresher, here's the gist for green stars. Also, throughout this video, I'll be calling them greens pretty often, so that way you don't have to hear the word star 60 times within these 80 minutes. 80 minutes? That's not how long the video is. Also, if you end up liking this video, be sure to subscribe. After collecting all 120 normal stars, you're tasked with defeating Bowser one last time. After watching the credits roll, you get a special cutscene featuring Rosalina, and the next time you turn on your save file, Lubba lets you know that you messed up. Don't you just hate when this happens? New missions get added to every single level in the game. Missions may be a strong word. Rather than being completely new content, the new stars have simply been hidden at tricky places inside existing levels. Nothing completely bespoke is present here. Finally, if you want to access the true final level, you need to collect every single green star to access Grandmaster Galaxy. Depending on the kind of player you are, I imagine the description is either really exciting or sounds like a complete nightmare. The entire game just doubled in content. Or you have to go through hours of filler in order to get the true ending. That critique of filler content is one that I somewhat dealt with in my second video on Mario 64 DS. I never explicitly stated my philosophy there though, instead I simply said that more content isn't necessarily a good thing. So let me elaborate on what I think about adding additional stars onto existing stages. I think that if the designers make the additional star challenge the player in novel ways, I really can't be too mad about adding it. But if it has me excessively backtracking or redoing stuff I've already done, then I'm going to be a lot less excited. But succinctly, I have a chronic fear of video games that are longer than 20 hours. With that in mind, I'd say greens are firmly a mixed bag. Overall, some of them are great, but others aren't quite up to snuff. I'd like to start with some of their more positive qualities though, because there actually is a lot to like. Namely, their level of challenge. Some greens are actually pretty tricky to reach. The thing with 3D Mario games is that Mario always has this incredibly acrobatic moveset, where you're able to pull off crazy stunt after crazy stunt. But none of the content is really built for that, in order to ensure that every player can beat the game. It's intrinsically fun to move like this, but there's no real reason to. This is an area where greens really shine. Oftentimes, they'll be placed in out-of-the-way areas where simple jumps won't be enough. They can require you to utilize your entire moveset, having to do things like string a triple jump into a spin, or jumping off Yoshi mid-air. This makes these stars really enjoyable to collect, since you have to figure out how to grab it, and then actually have the skill to execute those jumps. These feel like the kind of challenges you'd only ever find in a fan game, which makes them exciting to see in a mainline title. For everyone that's interesting though, there's another which is very basic. Take the first in Cosmic Cove Galaxy for instance. It's located just off the edge of this platform, which already had the level's normal star on it. This new star basically just mandates that you play through the entire stage again, without actually posing a new, interesting challenge to the player. It's like if I re-uploaded this video in the future, but with 10 more seconds at the very end. The designers decided that each level should have the same number of green stars as normal stars, which may have been a mistake. They probably could have gave each level only 1 or 2 to trim the fat, while still making it expand the game significantly. Having so many also exposes an additional weakness. For every star, you have to go through the process of going to the galaxy map, selecting the stage, picking the star, and then flying into the galaxy. Every single time. Not to mention that galaxy levels are way more linear than other Mario games. Even if all the greens are placed at an interesting location, you're going to have to cover the same ground multiple times. Ground which you already covered at least one time when you collected the normal star, and potentially a second time when doing the Galaxy's Comet mission. Adding so many does completely overstuff the game with content. It turns what would have been a pretty standard sequel of a similar length into a long galactic journey, which is what I mean when I say it gives the game an endgame state. It's this type of content which isn't available until you've done basically everything else. It's a bit higher in difficulty, and is admittedly way easier for the developers to create. Another thing which adds this endgame feeling is the requirement for Grandmaster Galaxy's Comet is collecting the maximum number of star bits. This is content made to help lengthen the experience and give die-hard players a reason to stick around. Thinking about it, I feel like I may be misusing the term endgame throughout this video, but also I can't really think of a better term to describe what greens accomplish. It's interesting to trace the franchise and see what green stars started as, and what they became later on. They first appeared in Galaxy 1, where there are only 3 of them, and all they did was lock away a couple of difficult levels. Their spirit was still present though, as in order to unlock the true final level, Galaxy 1 requires that you play through the entire game again, but as Luigi. Somewhat similar to how Greens asks you to go through all prior levels once more. Despite being similar requirements on paper, it sure feels like Greens are a much more daunting challenge than playing all of Galaxy 1 again. I think this can be attributed to their higher difficulty and how many times you'll have to re-enter stages. Green stars also feel a bit more demanding, like they're asking you to play them right now, while Super Luigi Galaxy feels more like a bonus for when you decide to replay the game. Or perhaps it's simply that Luigi is an appealing human being. Something to think about. Moving forward, green stars make a return in 3D World as a collectible in every level. 3 are hidden in each stage, and grabbing them is required to unlock certain levels. I think the sheer quantity of greens is the origin of the large number of collectibles we would later see in Odyssey and Donkey Kong Bonanza. All 3 of these games make the smart change where grabbing a star lets you continue playing the current level, without kicking you out to the hub world. This makes these games snappier and more of a seamless experience. Though there is something to be said for the old school one at a time implementation. Every star sending you back to the hub gives each one a grand feeling of completing a level, and bookends each segment of gameplay. It also lets the developers get more outrageous with their placements. In the modern games, they have to be somewhat sure that the player will be safe after grabbing the collectible, since you'll remain in the same level after getting it. Since the older games don't have this, it means they can place greens in far out locations where you would otherwise instantly perish if you had to keep playing after getting it. This plays well with the increased challenge they tend to have. Thinking a bit more on Odyssey in particular, it's the only other one which comes closest to having its own endgame state. After beating Bowser, every level gets repopulated with more moons to collect. To me, this is still very different from Greens. Most of these moons are brand new content with their own unique challenges, whilst Greens are simply stapled onto existing levels. Moons just don't give me the same endgame vibes that Greens do. Again, my endgame definition might be somewhat arbitrary here, but I can't think of a better word. We're wrapping up. It sure seems like the grindy implementation of Greens is pretty deliberate. There was never a possibility for Nintendo to develop a Galaxy 3 immediately after 2, so this was their last chance to utilize the game's unique mechanics and atmosphere. Green stars are kind of a final hurrah for the Galaxy games. They are a chance to experience these games for even longer, a chance to provide players with as much gameplay as possible. Despite my loathe for some of these stars, when you take into account the normal campaign, the special world, the comet medals, the starbit collecting, and of course these damn green stars, they all add up to give this game a very unique feel compared to other Mario games. It's a gigantic adventure where every star gets a full animation, and where even skilled players will have a tough time clearing it all at once. It can be a rough journey at times, but I think it's one which is absolutely worth going through. But I mean, if green stars are so good, why didn't they do red stars? Or blue stars? Or orange triangles? Or cyan octagons? Or purple circles? I mean, they could have just kept stapling different collectibles onto this game forever. Think of all the content, all the endless content that could have been added to this game and remixed forever. Now that would be game design.